How you doing, everyone? Welcome to Let's Get Stringing. Well, long time no see. A lot has been going on recently. I'll be making another video sharing my experience winning a Central Jersey beginner intermediate tennis tournament. So watch out for that video to come out. So what I have with me today is Head Extreme Pro. Believe it or not, it was brought to me by a kid with like small frame. He couldn't be more than I'm guessing 11 or 12 years old. I would have thought that he'd still be using a junior racket, which some kids do use. They're at that transitional stage. That's why I was very surprised when I got this racket, and it's actually the newest Head Extreme Pro model. I'll show a B-roll of the close-up of it. Basically, the specs on it is 305 grams on strong weight, 315 millimeter. It's 9-point headlight on strong, so strong balance will be 6-point headlight. It's a 98 square inch head size, so it's considered both of a control racket as well as a spin racket. So I'm very surprised that somebody like that, kid size, will be able to handle this racket. So I don't know who recommended it to him or his playing level, so who am I to judge, right? Maybe the kid has very high potential. Now, in my younger days, I did try 315 gram on strong rackets as well as 310 gram and 305 gram, and recently I just came to a realization that I no longer can handle those type of weight. You know, currently at my age, my capabilities, my preferred weight is only 295 gram on strong. I find that with that light of a weight, it gives me the flexibility of customizing it to the spec that I want without the racket becoming too heavy. So he's going with Hybrid G16L poly mains with velocity multi-filament in the 17 gauge in the crosses. That's another thing I'm surprised of. Somebody of his size and age are already playing with Hybrid G16L. Let me know what your thoughts is on that. I would think that these transitional players that are using this type of poly setup with soft string in the crosses, their main concern is to protect their arms as well as having the soft strings effectively soften up the string bed, in comparison to having a full bed of poly at such a young age. But he's choosing the Hybrid G16L gauge, which is 1.25 millimeters. With Cylindrical strings, they do make everything down to, at least with the Hybrid Gs, they have it down to 20 gauge, I believe, which is the thinnest. And then they got the 19 gauge, 18 gauge, 17 gauge, and then the 16 light, and then the thickest being the 16 gauge. So as a kid, he's already using almost the thickest possible string. So, you know, you be the judge. I'm not trying to be the judge. You know, when they come to me with specific string type and the gauges as well as the tension. That means they must have consulted somebody, you know, being that young, or maybe they ask ChatGPT these days. You know, AI provides a lot of answers these days. A lot of times I've recommended something and the customer replies saying that, oh, thank you for your recommendations, and let me get back to you after consulting with ChatGPT or Siri. All right, good luck with that. So without further ado, let me strung this baby up. So here we go with the hybrid G16 gauge mains. At 50 pounds he wants. The racket has 6 grommet holes in the throat. So we're going through the throat first. So far this turner clamp is treating me pretty well. I've been adjusting it so that it's between 9 and 14 setting. And the good thing about it is that I used to have to back it up with a starting clamp all the times, because when the starting clamp rests against my post over here, the original ones that is, it didn't have a straight and 90-degree, you know, upright side profile like this one does. And with this design, it rests securely against this post, so that it's not wobbly or anything during tension pull. And in most instances, I didn't have to back it up with the starting clamp, except for a very slippery multi-filament. Unless you clamp it pretty tight, it has a tendency to slip through the clamp and scratch itself. Because sometimes out of the factory, they put this type of lubrication on the outside of certain strings. So that's something to watch out for. Changing the order of the way that I unclamp when doing the mains. I used to just flip the top clamp, let it drop, utilize the gravity release function. But I'm copying from stringers on YouTube to release the base clamp first. That has the benefit of preventing the strings from being scratched up, especially the fragile ones or soft ones, like your, for example, your Technofiber NRG. That's very prone to getting scratched and damaged, or certain natural guts. Certainly don't want the strings to be scratched up before the player even gets to play with it. By the way, this has Auxetic 2.0 implemented in this generation. From what I remember, I've played with the previous version to this, and it was still Auxetic 1.0. But I remember at the time, Head was selling other models such as the speed line that had already had the Auxetic 2.0 implemented earlier, like in a version earlier already. So the Extreme line's kind of late in adopting that. So this racket has its first grommet hole skip at the 8 grommet hole, top and bottom. And we're tying this off with the extra 10 to 15% tension applied. Sounds perfect. This is the first time this new racket is being strung. The grommet holes are not stretched out, they're still pretty tight, therefore I'll just use a smaller knot. Meaning next will be our velocity crosses at 52 pounds. And I'm gonna do it with a 10% pre-stretch. Yes. Start putting it through in grommet hole number 11. Pre-stringing routine in the morning. I always like to have a cup of joe help me wake up, so I can prevent making mistakes because you know, being half asleep. I just won a Facebook tournament the other day, and part of the gift was this USTA Easter mug. Actually, I got this from being the runner-up in the last tournament. So this time I actually got a bigger mug. It's like about this tall. I'll put a picture below. Some people like to use all the same knots in a frame, and I do sometimes. All depends on the situation. How many people have to tighten their clamps for stringing your crosses? I don't recall seeing that with stringers using bigger machines like the Biardos. I think those clamps are bulkier and has more clamping power that you don't have to tighten it. But with smaller clamps like these, you kind of do. That's been my experience, so I usually just tighten it by one click or two, depending on if I notice after the release. I will put my finger next to the clamp as it's releasing from the tension head to see if I notice any slippage. It's normal to notice that the elastic strings like these multi-filaments, they are contrasting from a stretched position as tension is being released. That's normal, just as long as you don't notice the whole string actually sliding out of the clamp all at once. That's what's important. Yeah, with these soft strings, it makes it very hard to move the poly mains left or right. So it's not suitable for people who rely on the snapback to generate topspin or to brush against the ball, because main strings are not likely to move much. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe with powerful big strokes they move, but I don't think they would like to return to their original position easily. But people seem to use it with, like I said, with these transitional players. It serves the purpose better than using a full bed of poly at such a young age, with the stiffness being the concern. And young players, they can't rely on the racket, can't utilize the racket to generate that much topspin anyways. So thank you very much for watching. This has been another episode of Let's Get Stringing. Happy hitting, happy stringing, and I shall see you next time. Take care.